So I was um, exploring different ways. We've been exploring different ways through self-inquiry of how to um, basically how to make contact the uh, with the infinite being. And you had led me a couple days ago through a way that I've been familiar with because David does on his channel as well, which is looking at the energy in the back of the eyelids and being able to be in conversation with the infinite being through that sense of existence, like just the simple sense of existence, which I can see and I feel that. However, when I watched your other videos about self-inquiry before we ever started this month-long program together, I had already developed the way that I communicate with the infinite being through inquiry. And for me, it is, let's see if I can put it into words. Like, this is a good challenge. Me, it is will you ask me an inquiry question?
Yes. Are there any problems?
No problems. Okay, so for me, thank you. It's a, it's almost like a Milky Way behind me. It's like, I know the field is bigger and as we go deeper into it, it's like it brings it forward, but it starts as like this, almost like a gaping open star Milky Way. And it's a little different every time, but in this moment, that's what it was. It's infinity. It's like clear that it is. That's just, I think, how my being makes an image for it. And then it connects to it and it just answers, but not with words in my ears. It's
Mm.
not, it doesn't come through thoughts. Will you ask me another question of
Yeah.
inquiry?
Does this sense of existence, does it have a history?
There's no history. And as you ask me that question, and as I go to it to receive the knowing answer, it's like the star power inside of this infinite Milky Way, like draws forward through my back body. And it kind of, I can feel this deep presence, almost like the milk of life, like, and then the
You are
more,
you are that presence.
yes,
You
yes,
are
yes.
that presence, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. And when we do the longer sessions of inquiry, what happened yesterday is, um, I think we probably were in it for at least 45 minutes. And at the end, my eyes, as you may recall, they opened. I
Yeah.
did not open them. Like, there was so clear that presence was moving through me. And what was beautiful is you were in the middle, and I had no idea this is what you were about to say, but you were in the middle of sharing that as we do this work, you'll notice that you don't need to have your eyes closed anymore, that you'll be out in the world and presence will be acting through you. And it was if the presence that we share was like one step with you, ahead of you, like telepathic communication happen. And it's like, all right, well, let's show Robin let's record the mind body of Robin that, yep, that's what's happening, and opened my eyes up. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's so smooth, it's so clean, it's magical. And it's beautiful. As I mentioned, before we started recording with somebody else who I meet, when they said 3 sessions, Amanda, I was like, oh wow. I said, you know what? I said, well, I must have been asleep for 12 hours. I said, so it happened in 12 hours for Amanda, and it was effortless. It
Oh, right.
really was effortless. Um, it's phenomenal. It is all about that. I mean, yeah, there are probably, different ways that we integrate It's the integration, because once you see your true nature, that's it. But then it's like integrate these. It's apparently integration, embodying, and self inquiry with the eyes closed, with the gentle, relaxed focus behind the eyelids, with self inquiry. Nobody can deny that presence power. And with that presence power, the amount of downloads or channeling, it's another level. And that's what I've been hearing you say. It's another level. You was talking about discernment yesterday. It was talking about quite a few things, but ah, it's it's like the mingling. It's like the body mind is not a separate entity that needs to wake up. No, 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 no. We leave that alone. And the presence, that that existence, it just becomes predominant.
Right. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. It
yeah,
does. I'm feeling that happen.
yeah, yeah.
And we were talking before we started recording about the self-image, and we were connecting.
Yes,
Another
yes.
word is ego. How does that little sucker get created?
Well, we are the infinite timeless being. We are existence. And whatever arises in existence, or whatever consciousness becomes aware of, it has, we call it attention. We call it attention going out. But really, attention is not a separate thing. Attention is the power of consciousness, leaving the seat of consciousness, the existence, ageless, timeless, boundless. It leaves, we look at, we start seeking and searching for our true nature, for happiness. And when that attention goes out, it becomes the mind. The mind adopts concepts of lack and limitation. And this is why some beings find it really difficult to go into the chest area and the tummy area, because that very functioning of attention collects all of these images. I've got a past, I've got a future, this is how old I am, this is right, this is wrong, I'm inferior to this, I'm superior. So it picks up all of these things. And then now the attention is restless, it's seeking to get away from itself. So whenever we do, with some beings who possibly haven't had much contact with the bliss body, but I know you have. I know that you've had you're predominantly bliss. What happens is when that attention rests, it feels uncomfortable. It doesn't like silence. It feels so uncomfortable. That's the self image. And it's not real. It's just that the consciousness has adopted the shape of attention, collected all these things, and now that's the identity. So it's not even a mask or anything. And through self image, when we put those questions to self image, there's nothing, all you feel is existence, existence, presence, power. Oh, it just gets bigger and bigger. And then you realize that that self image wasn't real. It's not real. So what was it? It's not real. It has no reality.
I see. So we
Yeah.
just we made it up because we somehow felt that we were lacking.
There's hundreds of reasons. It's the way that why we did it is an answer for each one of us to answer, I suppose. But how it happens is it is all the consciousness. It is the ocean. So you've got the ocean, then you've got the movement in the ocean, and it's as if the ocean falls in love with that which arises and forgets that it's the ocean, and it takes itself to be thought forms and frequencies. And but the ocean, but the fountain is the ocean. It's just moving, it's patterning, shaping, forming, it's dancing.
Yes, 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 yes. And we also spoke, this is about how to about the interview David has with Sunny, and he talks about unplugging the root from the dualistic realm, so like the below. So there's one thing of unplugging from the dual invitations up here, but then there's something about unplugging from the root of the dual realm that you had brought up a few sessions ago, and I've just been exploring that. I was like, ooh, do I know what the root is? I understand this. I can see but I don't know that I have a real understanding of where to pull up the root.
So, have you watched the video of
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I will have to go back and watch it, but I do know what he's talking about because of understanding how the mind
Yeah.
works and the body mind. And I've heard David say on a number of occasions that it's useful to know that the body mind is connected to two systems. It's connected to the dualistic mind and it's connected to the infinites. So it's intelligence and fear and intelligence and love. And that, I mean, that's how David conveys that message. Um, and it, from direct experience, we know that it's true. We know that this is the God self. This delivery is inspirational. It's uplifting. It's light. This one is, whoa, this is fear. No, not going there. Um, and so the body mind is connected to both of those servers. Now, as I mentioned with the attention goes out. As soon as it goes out, everything's connected. It's like it's shopping. When it gets bitten, when something doesn't go its way, it comes home, it then fires that thing into the body mind. That's how it gets fired in. I don't know if you've had the experience. I know I certainly have. And I know a lot of people who I've come to work with and come to know have had like a feeling of energy running up and down in the body. Have you had that? That's
Mhm.
all the investments, the when we believe that which arises to be who we are, it creates a false self-image. And that false self-image, that's the one that goes to sleep at night. I'm tired. I need to sleep. That one. That's the root of all suffering. Because we can stop decline. We can say, right, no more invitations. Now the work begins. And the work is simply seeing, not so much doing anything because it's already been created, but it's more to stop adopting thoughts. And then Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. It's a combination, it can be dormant. It's a combination of thoughts and feelings and beliefs of what am I going to do now? How am I going to talk to people? It says a lot of stuff, but it's to become so alert that you see it and you just say, that arises too. That
Mhm.
too arises. The
Mhm.
body mind arises. The body mind Amanda arises in consciousness. The body mind Robin arises in consciousness. And those thoughts and feelings and, all that beliefs and whatever, they also arise. The sense of personhood arises. It's a tendency to become personal. It's a tendency to treat these things as though we own them. So their tendencies, the tendency of ownership, the tendency of personhood. And then if the consciousness is not really established in its clear seeing, if it hasn't really seen its true nature and experienced the isness and the aliveness and the attributelessness, if that is such a word, when it knows that, it says, thank you. I'm not playing, because once you taste who you are, um, there's a commitment. We may fall over a million times, because of the habit. It's the habit to identify. But then we see that as a tendency and we say, oh, that is a tendency, and it arises in the empty open field.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, and I shared the experience of where I predominantly access the um, infinite being and inquiry through just because I feel like it's so useful to have all of the tools accessible, either with the people we're working with or anyone who may watch this. And um, so there's that one version. There are a few times when we were talking right now where I was feeling it's like the more that we do it, the quicker the access point becomes. Like I
Yeah.
can see, okay, there's some part of identity and Robin mind body that is here. And then if I want to shift it, it's like it's almost as if it's just an influx of life force into the body. It's like, it is really, maybe that's why they call it waking up. It's very much like and then it moves out into what this body mind is connecting with.
That's why we say there's no doer. There is no doer. So if we
Mm.
feel that we are doing the housework, we are the ones driving the car, we are the ones even having this conversation, then that takes effort. But once you've seen your true nature and you've been faithful, and you've committed to the clear seeing, it does not take long. It doesn't take long. It takes no effort, and it just doesn't take long.
And the back of the eyelids that you sometimes lead us with, in the seeing the energy in the back of the eyelid, the sense of existence. Is it just you're resting in presence there? Is that what that that pointer is?
When we go to, okay, so the very first time that I did self inquiry, when I didn't even, there was no spiritual seeking, it was in love with Jesus. And then it was like, who are you, Jesus? And who am
Yeah.
I?
Yes,
Ah!
yes, yes.
And then having my mentor just sent me Muji just out of the blue. We didn't even have a conversation about this. And I was like, okay, let's see what this is. And the
Uh-huh.
very first, maybe the second video, because I think the first video was Muji having a conversation with somebody about spiritual awakening. And then I don't know if it just flagged up on the YouTube channel, but he was doing a self inquiry. And I sat and he'd said, who is suffering? Bang! I was in presence there. There was
Yep.
no Amanda, no Jesus, no God, no nothing. And I think I had my eyes closed because he gets you prepared, everybody sat on the floor and I'm sat there and he said, who is suffering? And there wasn't even a sense of aliveness, no sense of existence. It was like the mind was stunned. And I was like that for about 2 hours, just stunned,
Mm.
stunned. Couldn't pick any thoughts up, nothing. There was no thoughts to pick up. But as time went on, because it was so delicious, I would just go back. And I didn't need to be in a special position or locate anywhere. I could just say, who's suffering? Mind gone. Any noise, anything, any emotion. Who and what is suffering? Nothing. So when I'd taken people through that, I thought everybody's going to have this experience, but people would connect to the head and tell me, oh, I am. And I'd say, is there a past? And I could see, and I'd be like, oh, so, oh, you can go to the head. And I was like, oh. And then it was through meeting Colette. And Colette and I were mirrors for each other. It was like iron sharpening iron. And one day we was having a conversation, and she said, "Yeah, the way that you do self inquiry is very powerful, Amanda." She said, "I tend to lead people to the chest area." I said, "Why? Why do you go in the body?" She said, "Because they go to the head." And I said, "Oh, let me try it." So I went to the chest area, and I thought, "Yeah, yeah, there's you." But no matter where I located, there would be silence. There would be no sufferer. And then I was watching. Oh, Colette said to me, yes, because David points people to the backs of the eyelids. And I thought, well, isn't that the head area? So now she said, no, it cuts off thoughts and it cuts off feelings. So I tried it and I was like, oh, yeah, there's no thoughts and feelings at all. But then you could feel the subtle existence. I said, oh, you could feel the aliveness. And
Mm.
spontaneously, I said, let me do an inquiry from here. And that was it. It
Mm.
just, the presence power was just like, well,
Mhm.
because you've been doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree with Colette that you have an incredible talent with guiding self-inquiry. And it's so clear. I love hearing that you developed it really yourself by talking with Jesus. And it
Yeah,
really resonates with me because that's been so much of my life. I spend a lot of time alone in inquiry with life. So whether if it's about building a business and asking questions about what's going to serve, or if it's about a relation, sometimes it's gotten me in trouble. So that's why this has been such a great gift, because that inquiry sometimes will be like, does this relationship serve or not? In the past, it has not done that for a really long time, and we are so grateful for that. We are so grateful. But I used to think that that was a good question to ask, because, or at least like a worthy question to ask, because I've had so much wisdom come to me through the process of inquiry through my entire life, as long as I can remember. So, of course, I think it makes sense, like this being, this mind body would be like, okay, well, we have to make a really important decision in life. We're going to do some inquiry. But the way I went about the inquiry was, is this good or bad? So it was a dual question.
yeah,
Was-
yeah. That reminds me of the mentor that I had. She literally, the amount of tools that she gave to, oh my God. I've even created something called a toolbox. I literally have, because it would be a shame not to share those tools with people that will find them useful, because they did uncover a lot, and the manifestations very quick. Creativity, it's really, she really, every time I remember her, I just, oh my God, so fortunate. So words can't explain. But one of the tools, because she used to always say to me, Amanda, here's a tool. She'd say, there you go. This is what she's laid it out. She frameworked it. This is what it does. Da, 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 da. And she knew that I would run, sit down and rip the thing to pieces. I never just took her word. And she always said, don't ever believe anything I say. And don't you ever just pick up a tool. That's the tool. That's how it works. Go and see what it does for you. And in all honesty, Robin, every tool that she's given me has moved mountains. But there was one tool, and it was to do with inquiry, that I couldn't yield with it. And it was a tool of separation. It was, I later found out it's in the David Hawking book. And I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It didn't resonate, where you hold your arm out and you want to know. It is fun to do, because we all did it, with my mentor and other students that she had, and it was fun. It really was fun, but I couldn't trust it. So will the body will tell you if something's the truth or a lie. So what she got us to do was to ask each other. No, she got us to
Mm,
think of something that we believe was true. So, you could think like, okay, my name is Amanda Tweed. Okay, so that was something, but we weren't allowed to say it. Then we had to stretch our arm out like that. And then another person would come along with two fingers, I think. And if they could weaken the arm, then we was holding a lie. And then we had to admit, no, I was telling the truth. I was saying my name is Amanda Tweed. Or if it was a lie, like if I was saying my name is Joe Bloggs, then my arm was supposed to go weak. And there was some truth in it, but I believed that it could have been manipulated.
in what
Because
way?
if you really want something to be true, you're going to hold that arm. And again, there was another test that she gave us that I could see could be manipulated, not on purpose, you know. Yeah, they just didn't serve me. They didn't serve me. So the thing, self-inquiry, you hit with the truth. You just get getting hit with the truth.
Mm.
You could ask, well, when you see your true nature, those questions don't come up. Shall I go left or right? They just don't come up, do they? Yeah, yeah, because the questions are more direct. Who is suffering? Is there a sufferer? Is there a past? Can
Yes.
this stick? And by the time you've asked the fifth question, you don't even want to talk. You just flick the existence, the presence power. You just silent, and then
What
it's like all the channeling happens, and you just know. Mm.
what I'm realizing too is that the question, is this relationship good or bad for me, kind of a question. I think the setup of that question makes it so I go to the dual server,
Yeah, yeah,
doesn't it? Because I'm actually saying, hey, dual server, because you're the one who knows about good and bad. Is
yeah,
this relationship good or bad here?
yeah,
It-
yes.
and so it's almost like then the dual server goes, oh, hey, you just opened up for me to come and play.
There is an excellent way. There is an excellent way with discernment, and because yeah, there is an excellent way. Ask for wisdom. Just say, whatever you call infinite being, the Lord of the universe, the source, whatever, just say, please give me wisdom. Humility. It's humility because, yes, we are the self. Of course, we are the self. We cannot not be the self. We can't take a step towards ourselves or a step away from ourselves. We can sit here right now and go straight into self inquiry, and you will know that, yeah, there's no separation. It's just presence power. It's presence. There is nothing other than existence, no duality, nothing. And the more that we do it, the more that becomes predominant very quickly. As we move through the day, being business owners, there are decisions that are required from us from time to time. So I say decisions. Let me rephrase that. There's action, actionless action. So there are things that we are required to do, but not as a separate self. And so knowing that even if you're not a business owner and you're keeping a home or you go to work, I always say just ask for wisdom. Just say, Lord, wisdom, and drop it and move. And things start to pattern, shape, form. Synchronicity is always there, but because you've well, I've come to understand that from experience that it doesn't matter how much information, how much self inquiry, how much presence power. It's knowing that the dualistic mind is swift and it's available, and at any time we can doze. We can. So to stay alert, it's like not safety, wisdom. Wisdom says, ask for wisdom, ask for wisdom. And wisdom, when we ask for wisdom, it just comes through. It just, if I can remember something, an example of something, maybe the day when, and I know I mentioned it this week, when I had to file the company confirmation document. I know that that morning during a self inquiry, I would have said thank you. I would have said a lot of thank yous because it's so beautiful. And then I would have said, I ask for wisdom, just like that. And wisdom showed up that day in the middle of that, looking for the documents for the accountant to just say, hey, Amanda, confirmation statement is ready. Do you want me to do it for you? That was wisdom. Wisdom just moved that thing out of the way. A lot of things that happen, a lot of things that have happened, there's always, I mean, I've been asking for wisdom, not from lack, just playful wisdom. So you're kind of saying wisdom body. That's it. The decision, the divine determination from here is the wisdom body. So you use the power of tongue. Lord, I mean, I still speak to Jesus. I say, sweet Lord Jesus, wisdom. Let it just pour all over this vessel. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. And then whatever I do, get up, do a hot drink, have a shower, it doesn't matter. And the day just slides just from one sentence. Mm.
Mm, mm,
It really is appreciation and humility.
mm, mm, mm,
Yeah, it's appreciation and humility because having the having the grace to see who and what we are and to understand what the dualistic mind, the experiences that we can have, just that grace on its own. I don't know about you, Robin. I think, I mean, most beings who I speak to, the appreciation, the gratitude, it kind of keeps you plugged into that grace because it's the recognition of who we are over and over, and it's we you cannot comprehend. We had this conversation earlier. You can't comprehend functioning with push and pull with you and me. It feels very impossible, even though we've tasted that. We once functioned. It's a different functioning. Mm,
yeah, I feel that.
mm,
Feel that. What a gift of grace that is. Yeah.
mm.
Mhm.
So we know there's no lack. We know nothing's missing, but humility, you say, Lord, wisdom. You're saying, I don't know anything. I know everything. I know who I am. I know. But even that I know, um, that is not really the language. There's a knowing, there's an impersonal knowing that I existence am. It's an impersonal knowing, and it knows nothing other than existence. It knows the ageless, timeless, boundless, um, omnipresent, omniscience, omnipotent being. And just knowing, just that impersonal knowing of that, everything is sorted. Everything just gets lined out.
Mm, mm,
It just
mm,
gets lined out. There's decisions, the decision to rest in effortless being. Um,
mhm,
yeah, it just smooths everything out.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, I've been feeling the more that I have this body mind has been capable of resting in effortless being. And I say capable only because
Mm,
for this body mind, the knowing, the desire for it had been there for a very long time. And there were certainly glimpses, but this body mind needed some tools to, and some faith, both of which you've gifted me. And it needed it really the tools are like a practice, and for me they're just I guess there is a component of understanding the the two systems, and n- w- choosing the beautiful one makes it so that life is beautiful and there is no lack, and that itself is what seems to grow presence power in this body man, around this body man, as a vessel for presence power.
mm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yes, yes. Because when we step into the character or the human vessel, it's like you're under a cloud of presence. You're just covered with aliveness, and it's just like we said yesterday when I said, Robin, you'd gone. I said, Robin, you're under the shadow of the Almighty. You just disappeared, and it's beautiful because the sense of existence is always here. It's always it cannot not be here. The sense of presence, but
yes.
it just becomes predominant. And the thing is, it does not take time or effort.
No, because it's here.
It's here.
here, I will say this body mind having a clear seeing of being able to distinguish between even the self concept. There's a visual self concept that this body mind sees when it's doing inquiry that it shows up as little like dark boxes, like linear pieces of things that are so clearly not truth and are so clearly concepts and beliefs. And it's like the space in between and around. I guess they're the fountain. They're fountains, they're waves, they're experiences, but they're not the ocean. And that space between and all around, it's like, oh, that's what I am. And I can pick up any one of those shapes that I want at any time if I want to play with it. But then those become game-like, not so damn serious.
Yes, there is no seriousness. No, it's just, um, it's like being a newborn baby, but you know everything. You know everything. You know the nature of thoughts, feeling. You just know. Yeah, you know everything. Well, you are the all-knowing, um, indestructible, almighty.
So enriching to every area of life. So enriching. So enriching. It's so enriching. Yeah, so enriching. It's so enriching, and I feel so much gratitude right now. So grateful for you offering this service to any of us who want to really stand with our 2 feet on the ground, which is so interesting because I know talked a little bit ago about like unplugging, but there is something about an embodiment experience as well that I'm very much aware of in the integration.
Yes,
It
yeah, yes, mm, yes. The nervous system, whereas we was once contracted, with that focused attention going out, the nervous system is not really able to hold gratitude and love. The body, it would hurt, it can hurt the body. So the body has to be prepared. And I've never really done meditation. Um, I suppose if we call self-inquiry meditation, if that's the right term, then that certainly just relaxes because there's nothing to fear. You're fearless, you're desireless. There's nothing to fear.
Mhm.
You know, ask any question. Does time exist? And I'm sure it was you, or it might have been another somebody else. But I asked a question, and did you just burst out laughing at something because the question was ridiculous? I think it was, can this
Oh,
suffer? Or does this have a past? Oh, I think it was you, and I think it was somebody else because yeah, I saw somebody else. I said, does this have a past? And they just burst out laughing, and because you just automatically go into bliss, you're not looking for the bliss filter. But when you
no.
do self inquiry and you realize that I am the existence, the bliss filter just
Yeah.
yeah, it just takes over.
Mm.
I remember Colette had a few months of she just couldn't stop laughing. She every time she spoke, she would just be laughing and
Uh-huh.
she'd be like, oh, and she would just go off again. And I would, it just happens,
Yes, it does.
yeah, it just happens. The
Yeah.
laughter, I think it's a form of releasing. Not that there's anything to,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is.
I think so too. I mean, my experience of I definitely have ended up in laughter in our inquiry sessions, certain
Mm,
questions. It's more of for me the laughter in self through self-inquiry is there's this recognition of truth. And so everything that this body mind was holding on to before that recognition occurs, was holding tightly to, goes, it just goes, there is like this release. And then from that, it's like, oh, it's so good. Oh my God, can you believe it's something like that for me?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is a lot of laughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very joyful, very playful, you know. Mm,
And it does feel like a release.
yes.
Yes, like releasing the tight hold to all those, for me, geometric shapes, the thinking that we're the fountain. Just releasing the hold of all the pain that went into thinking we were only the fountain and we had to hold it all together.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
So we can end this with a self-inquiry.
Oh, I would
Please,
love
please,
that. Oh, I made it wait. I've been like, oh, maybe she'll please.
please feel free to laugh if you need to. Just be yourself.
Oh, thank
Yeah, we
you.
can do 5 minutes or so, and then we can wrap it up. So, oh, before I start, did you get the PDF okay with all those self-inquiry?
I have saved them to my YouTube
Oh,
channel unlisted or in my private thing so I can listen to your inquiry sessions whenever
okay.
I like, which is such a gift. Thank you.
Yes, because I haven't checked, but thank you for that.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's just having a very relaxed attention and placing that relaxed attention at the backs of the eyes and noticing the sense of existence or aliveness or isness. And the question of all questions, can this existence suffer?
No, it cannot suffer.
Does this have a past?
There is no past here.
What about what about an age? How old is the sense of existence?
The sense of existence is timeless, ageless.
Does it have a date? A month?
No date, no month.
Can it be sick?
No sickness.
Are there any boundaries? Does it have a beginning or an end?
No beginning, no end.
Does this need to make any decisions?
Does not need to make a single decision.
Can this complain? Does it have anything to complain about?
Absolutely not.
What about lack? Is anything lacking at all?
is absolutely no lacking.
Is this personal? So does it have likes, dislikes, inferior, superior, anything personal at all?
It's not personal.
Hmm. Can it be identified with anything?
No, it moves through all things.
And does it own anything?
Nothing.
So, what can be said then? We could say that it's ageless, timeless, impersonal, boundless, ever present, pristine, attributeless being. Is there any separation?
There is no separation.
Was this existence born?
No.
Can it cease to exist?
Hmm. I don't know.
Can it cease to exist?
No.
It's everlasting. It's the eternal being. And you are that. As you open your eyes, there is a clear distinction. Existence is looking through the eyes of the body mind. It permeates the body. Through the body mind, we can experience um, I would say presence power, but then there is no separation, there is no presence in the body, it's just the sense of presence.
Yes.
Mhm. This cannot fade. It cannot fade. We can recreate the attention and go away from it and reconnect with objects, or we can just have the relaxed attention, which no longer is attention, by the way, it's just the restful being. We cease creating attention, which creates the mind, which adopts. Thoughts may still arise, um, but you know that they arise in existence.
Mhm.
There's just a knowing. But what appears to take predominance is peace.
Mhm.
everlasting, indescribable peace.
Yeah. And the recognition of that brings a wave of bliss to this body
Yes.
mind.
And that's all that it is recognizing the sense of existence, recognizing the peace. And wherever we place the power of awareness, it magnifies that thing. I only have one question for you, Robin. How are you going to manage all of that bliss and presence?
I don't have to. Oh, oh, oh.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your pointings.
Thank you.
Thank you for your love.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you, Amanda.